Welcome, everybody. It's Talkback. Yes, indeed, it's the Tuesday edition brought to you by Bitterroot Motors, doing it right for more than 42 years. The Mustard Seed Restaurant, office solutions and services locally owned with solutions for every office. Automotive Cutting Edge, where Joe Featherly and the mechanics specialize in makes and models for vehicle repair and maintenance. All makes and models. Call 542-2218. Also brought to you by Transport Equipment, your headquarters for RV service, maintenance, and repair. Give them a call, 541-9097. Oh, the moment that all of us have been waiting for. I don't know about Charlie and Barbie, but we're pretty excited to have these guys here. Charlie and Barbie Beaton are with us, and these are the, if you will, the geniuses. Please forgive the, I'm being a little bit over flavorful here, but behind the Big Dipper ice cream. Welcome to our show.
Thanks for having us.
You bet. And I apologized all over myself earlier because we haven't had you guys on before. And how long have you been in Missoula now?
Well, we started it 20 years ago. So 1995, June of 95 is when I started Big Dipper.
Wow.
It was in the back of the Kettle House Brewery.
You're like, there's not enough sweet stuff in here.
I know.
Why'd you start there?
Well, Tim O'Leary, the owner of the Kettle House, and I grew up together in Helena, and he was moving back to Missoula with the idea of starting a brewery. And I had finished college, and I had made ice cream before when I was in college at Goldsmiths, and I had this, and so I had this idea to start an ice cream business, and we were sitting at the Iron Horse having beers, talking about
You're right,
we were talking about our business ideas, and we were like, well, let's find a spot together. So we spent about 6 months or so looking for a space and settled on the space that's the Kettle House on Myrtle. And Barbie and I we'd been dating for a year or two at the time, and so she helped out as well. And so for the first year, we were just manufacturing ice cream and selling it in town to, like Butterfly Herbs and Good Food Store and places like that. A year later.
Now, was it always called Big Dipper?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Yep. So, yeah, and it was came out of a business plan I wrote. I went to school here at U of M in business, and I'd written a business plan, and part of that plan was an ice cream business. So,
wow,
kind of came out of that.
Because they just finished the John Rufato Business Startup Challenge,
right?
The competition.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking 20 years. They had this 20 years ago.
I don't think they had the competition then.
Okay.
Quite
All
then.
right.
I think it was just a little bit after that.
I'll look it up after this so we know the facts.
Right.
This is a hard-hitting talk show. But yeah, I do know that this year a chocolatier was the runner-up to the first place. So
cool.
There's still a sweet tooth here in Missoula.
Right.
I got to ask you, though, of all the different ice cream flavors that get – one of my favorite things, I like experimental ice cream. Right. I like wasabi ice cream.
Yeah.
And bean ice cream. My favorite ice cream is black sesame seed.
Oh, yeah.
So I have different tastes. And I'm sure from what I see at your stand, that you must have some of that kind of inkling too. But
Sure.
there must be ice cream that you tried after making and said, this is not for resale. What is the worst flavor
I know, you think
that
the
you've
same one
ever
I'm
made?
thinking? Yeah. I think it was barbecue flavored ice cream. And I don't know if our ice cream maker's listening or not right now, but it was her dream to make. Her husband makes this amazing barbecue sauce. She's like, we have to make barbecue sauce ice cream. It's going to be amazing.
Well, it's sweet,
yeah.
right?
So yeah, and theoretically, it almost sounds good.
Is there like jerky in it or what? I mean,
Smokiness to it, but to me, that one did not go over well. I think we made a tomato basil sorbet, which was pretty horrible one time too.
Oh yeah,
it's hard to have little chunks of pulled pork in the ice cream.
Yeah, I don't think we've done any meat ice creams. Oh, well, that's besides bacon. We've done several with bacon.
Yeah, well, I've heard. What's the name of the guy that does Good Eats? I can't think of his name right now. The famous
Alton Brown.
Alton Brown, yeah. He was recently in Butte, and I went to go watch him. And in his little spiel, he goes on like this 15-minute rant about why you should never make trout ice cream. And he had that served to him in one of the Iron Chef challenges. and actually had to go off camera to basically puke.
Hey, I will tell you this, though. You know what?
Lesson learned.
I made smoked salmon ice cream with cream cheese
before,
and it was actually pretty good. I think that wasn't that bad.
It's good.
Okay.
A friend came back from Alaska, and he said, "You have to make this for me." So I said, "I'd do it."
Now, at what point do you decide that aside from just an experimental flavor, we're just going to pass around among us here at work? How do you decide to make it okay for the public? Do you have like a testing ground, or like
No.
what do they call those? A testing group or
Lab
whatever.
rats?
Yeah.
Well, I think what kind of originally started, we always made some weird different flavors, and we kind of got more experimental several years ago when we started working with, we have a lot of friends who are chefs because we're all in the same kind of, in the food business. So a lot of our friends, we'd have a guest chef like Bob Marshall from Biga came down and made a bunch of ice creams with us that he came up with. And so that kind of started the ball rolling on really trying different things.
Now, I must ask you, has Zimmerino helped you out with this at all?
I don't think Bob we've made ice cream for Bob, but I don't think Bob has.
Oh, you need to have Bob in your kitchen.
Yeah, I know Bob. So, yeah.
I think he'd be amazing. I think you'd be surprised at some of the creative stuff.
Yeah,
he'd come
I'm
up
sure
with.
you'd have some great ideas.
Anyway.
He's a good guy.
So I got to ask, what's your favorite, both of you, what's your favorite ice cream? I
Okay,
already
come
went on a
Come
limb.
Barbie, you hadn't even talked yet. Come on, so get right on that microphone here.
I'm pretty traditional, and I love vanilla. And sometimes I just have to have a little caramel sundae with nuts and no whipped cream, just caramel and nuts. It's delicious.
Okay, now for those who don't know, Big Dipper, you've been in the same location for quite a while, right?
yeah, for 19 years for that location.
So now I understand you're expanding out because I drive past Linda Vista Golf Course near where I live, and you guys have that available there?
Yeah, well, so we've always wholesaled ice cream, so it's available. I think we have about 70 different accounts all over Western Montana. So it's in a lot of grocery stores and restaurants. And then we also have a spot at the Adams Center for the Grizzly games, and we have our ice cream truck, which we call Cone Boy. So you'll see that at a lot of the events downtown. And then we also have a franchise over in Helena, and we have a new store over in Billings.
Wow. Now that's just, as you were speaking to me, inside information before the show. It's only been up for like 2 months, right?
Yeah, it's brand new.
Is that hard? I don't think people realize how big Montana is until they have to go to Billings.
Yeah, you know what? It is. The drive is a long ways. It's
what is it, like 4 hours, 5 hours?
5.5 hours.
Well, it depends on who's driving, pal.
I know. I think, I might have done it a little
Speed
faster.
limit went up this year, right?
Well, I have in that store we have two partners. Brian Hickey, who's been our manager forever, he and I partnered up on that store, and another manager, Leah, who is running the ice cream truck. She moved over there, and she has a small interest in it as well. So she's living there. So we have someone on the ground over there.
Now, let me ask you: when people obviously driving, there's a lot of construction going on near where you're at.
Sure.
Is that messing you up right now?
It hasn't been a problem. Last year was the worst ever because we had our street torn up from Higgins to Orange.
Right.
But we had a great summer, so I think people find their way, I guess.
I just wanted to give the official win on the Rufato Scholarship to Peter Christian.
Thank you.
It's been out for 26 years.
26
This
years.
was its
Wow.
26th year.
There you go.
That's great.
Well, anyway, so when people come up to your stand, do they just get cones, or can they get? Because it's been a long time since I've
not
been. So,
been?
so I haven't been for a long time. So
I just watch my kids. They beg for the waffle cone every single time.
It's because we make them and you can smell the waffle.
It's
from
frustrating. Thank you very much.
block away.
Because the bigger ones are the waffle cones,
Yeah.
right? But when you have like a 5-year-old who doesn't need that much ice cream, it's a difficult pull for a parent to say you get a little cup or a little sugar cone.
We also sell a lot of shakes and to-go things like we have pints and quarts to go and half gallons.
Do you make mini waffle cones?
For you, we probably would.
now,
See, this is power, people.
what about when you bring your dog? Are they have little doggy cones?
Yeah, we have dog cones as well.
Cool.
Really?
All right. I just want to make sure that everybody in the family.
I mean,
is being
what the
served
dog
here.
cones are, they're just the broken cones. They're nothing. They're not getting anything
Shows
too
how much
special.
you love dogs. Yes.
Now, have you ever made a cat cone?
No, but we've had cats come to Big Dipper.
Really?
Remember we were.
Well, it
just
is
talking about
milk,
this.
you know. I mean, hey.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
No, but we also had a man show up with an iguana on his head.
Do you get some pretty weird stuff? Yeah.
Well, we were just talking about stories just before this, and we used to have a dog that would, like, people would bring their dogs, and so they get a treat. So they'd go home, and the dog would keep coming back to Big Dipper on its own. So finally we had the name of the people. Their phone number was next to our phone, and so every time the dog would show up, we'd call them up and say, "Hey, your dog's back here."
We're going to put this one on your tab.
No, I must ask you before we let you go here. I must ask you. Go ahead.
Well, you have your 20th anniversary coming
Yeah,
up,
we
right?
do.
Yeah.
This is
Okay.
Yeah, we have just we have some events that Barbie's been putting.
Yeah.
She's been mostly doing it.
Go ahead,
and
Barbie.
Rose.
Tell us what's
going on?
coming up?
Yeah, to celebrate Big Dipper's 20th anniversary, we are giving some feedback to the community, some thank you going out in areas of events such as pajama and movie night at the Roxy. So for kids 12 and under, they can wear their pajamas, go to the movie at the Roxy, and get a free Big Dipper kids cone and head to Big Dipper after the movie, which is June 29th.
Wow.
Shrek.
And Shrek is the movie showing at 6:30 at the Roxy.
This is the original Shrek, or Shrek the musical, or Shrek 2, 3, 4,
This is-
or the
This
side
is
Shreks.
the original Shrek.
Okay.
Shrek 3D.
Puss in Boots, a spin-off of Shrek. I haven't seen any of these twice.
Right. Yes, we're hoping we get some grown-ups singing along and kids in pajamas. It'll be fun.
Cool.
And on July 18th and 19th, we have a grand celebration weekend, which also coincides with National Ice Cream Day.
Aha.
So we'll have an adult night where we'll have games like trivia, an ice cream eating contest, all kinds of other stuff going on. And Kids Day is Sunday, July 19th.
This ice cream eating contest, I'm really hoping it turns out to be like the Bertie Bott's Jelly Belly thing, where some of the ice creams are like disgusting or weird flavors like
that's a good
dirt, you know, and
That's always
that would be
an
really
option.
cool.
You might have an automatic entry into this.
I will
you know.
go. I'll taste what you got. If it's insect
All right.
ice cream, I'm down.
Now, I must ask you one more thing. I heard, again, this is all urban myth, that the Stones, Elton John, and Paul McCartney all came to the Big Dipper while they were here. Is that correct?
No,
No. Okay.
I don't think so. We've had we've had quite a few celebrities over the years. I can't verify
I've
that.
been there.
I made a milkshake for Hank Williams Jr. once.
Cool. Awesome.
I've heard Pearl Jam played on top of your ice cream stand.
Yeah, that
That-
may or may not have happened.
That's true. That's true. I've seen pictures.
We'll go
All
with
right.
it.
Hey, guys, congratulations. You are
Thank
you.
an absolute Missoula treasure. Everybody loves you guys. And,
Appreciate it.
and
Thanks for having us.
we appreciate you being with us. Thank you. And thanks for bringing ice cream to share with us.
Yeah,
Okay,
enjoy.
we're
Thank
gonna
you.
we're going to come right back. We'll eat it right in front of you, audience. We'll be right back. Man, self-control at its finest right there. Give me the ice cream. Anyway, I want to thank Charlie and Barbie Beaton from Big Dipper. They're celebrating their 20th anniversary this summer, so lots going on. We'll try to keep you updated.
Yeah, and before the show, we learned that Charlie has a certain style of eating ice cream that really meshes with Peter's
Yes.
love of life and
Yes.
movie popcorn.
Yes.
Apparently, he grew up dipping his vanilla ice cream cones in popcorn and eating it that way.
Yeah, eat in the salted and buttered popcorn.
But the story I'm about to read to you, Peter,
All right.
it's going to frighten and scare you, I think, in a way that most stories don't,
I'm
because it might be the end of buttered popcorn.
Oh, you're kidding.
I'm not kidding.
Oh, man, what is it? I'm beginning to quiver all
This
over
is a
here.
piece by Peter Sutterman on his Hit and Run blog for Reason.com.
Okay.
Don't get too attached to your movie theater popcorn, folks. The Food and Drug Administration is expected to release a final ruling that, quote, all but, quote, bans trans fats anytime now, reports Politico. There may be some limited exceptions, and naturally occurring trans fats from meat or dairy products won't be targeted, but food companies are generally expecting that the FDA's rule will leave them little room to use trans fats in their products.
Get out of my life!
So if you like donuts, frozen pizza, coffee creamers, canned cinnamon rolls, which will taste surprisingly delicious if you drop them in a deep fryer, Get ready for a mouthful of disappointment. They're all products that currently rely on trans fats and may have to change their recipes after the FDA ruling comes down. Without trans fats, they might taste different. Donuts, for example, would be much more oily in texture and would not preserve as well. Either way, they won't be the food you love and are used to. So,
But out!
so are you ready for the...
Who do you people think you are? That is, I'm really, ordinarily I don't yell very much. I'm a pretty calm guy. I really am. I don't really yell very much.
It's not funny. It's funny because he's so mad. Like, we could talk about any topic.
I know.
Like, he is literally enraged. He is not making this up.
Gee,
I mean, we could talk about the economy collapsing or children dying.
My economy will collapse.
I'm not sure would be upset or as upset as he is about the lack of possible lack of buttered popcorn.
You know, I'm one of those people. I don't do a lot. I don't have a lot of leisure activities.
Right.
I suck at golf. Okay. I mean, I don't hike or backpack or ski or hunt or fish or any of that stuff. But I like to go to the movies every now and then and have a really ugly box of buttered salted popcorn. It happens maybe once every couple of months. It's not a big deal, but no, we're just going to make it possible so that nobody is going to enjoy going to the movies and having that wonderful treat.
This is getting even worse for me because so I went to the original article from Politico about the FDA's ruling, and one of the items that's high in trans fats also happens to be one of my favorite candies.
Oh yeah,
Reese's Pieces.
oh man.
So.
Well, okay, it's time. The FDA has to come down. Has to come down. Got to bring it down. All right, 721-1290. Where's the militia when you need them? No, all right, no, I'm
think
just
they're
kidding.
in Waco.
Kidding, I'm kidding about that. All right, but seriously, butt out. We're going to come right back. Okay, I feel a little bit better. 721-1290 is our number, 1-800-568-5309. Let's get to the phones and try to address this outrage. Okay, Matt, good morning. You're on Talkback. Hi.
Outrage doesn't begin to cover it. We are all adults here, and I mean, for Christ's sake, if you'll pardon the expression, popcorn at a movie theater could be dripping, I mean, literally dripping with butter. It is not a major dietary source. It's not a food group, for Pete's sake.
Thank you.
Well,
Leave us alone.
in Pete's
I'll
sake,
tell
I
you
think
this,
it might be a food group.
You know, so much of everything that you do is genetic. I have had over the last 4 years, I've suffered kidney failure. There's no idea why. And because of that, congestive heart failure. My heart just isn't functioning very well. Went in the other day, had an angioplasty. The doctor says, well, there's nothing wrong with you. Your arteries are perfectly clear. And the funny thing about that, I didn't want to tell him, but about 4 times a week, I eat eggs and hash browns fried in bacon fat and butter.
Go, Matt, go.
But he's looking around me. Well, there's nothing wrong with any of your coronary arteries. They're perfectly clear. So apparently it has a lot to do with your genetic makeup. Does your body function a certain way or not?
Right. Got to get one more call on, Matt. Real quick. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. First it's Mexican food. Then it's butter. And then coffee's going to kill you. But coffee delays dementia. This, that, the other thing.
Yeah.
How about this? All things in moderation.
All right, buddy. Thanks for the call. Marcus, you're on Talkback. We have 2 minutes. Go.
All right. Well, I just wanted to bring up a counterpoint, which is that what we're not talking about is buttered popcorn. What we're really talking about is a chemical that should not have been approved by the FDA in the first place.
Okay.
It's a chemical, not butter. So you'll still have your buttered popcorn, but it'll be real butter. You'll have your Reese's peanut butter,
I would.
but it'll be real
I would
chocolate
love
and
to have real butter. I would love to have
peanut
real
butter.
butter in my popcorn.
Yeah, it's mostly about hydrogenated oils.
Yeah.
Right, and so that's a fake product that didn't exist before World War II. Your grandparents never ate it, and then now because a chemical company whipped it up in a big vat and pours it into stuff, and it looks like food, it smells like food, but it's not really food. They should have never approved it, and I think that this is the right direction to go. Obviously, people are upset because they're being told they're going to lose their popcorn, but they're not. Life isn't going to change. You're not even going to notice it. You're not even going to notice the pizza taste. It's going to taste better. And you're going to go, wow, remember that pizza used to taste like cardboard? Now it tastes even better because it's real pizza.
You mind if I respond to you real quick?
Okay.
One of the benefits of hydrogenated oil is its ability to last longer. Right? I agree with you. I'm wholeheartedly with you. I would rather have it. I would rather not buy the frozen pizza at the store or
spoilage, and we'll have death on the side of the highway due to mayonnaise or whatever. The ground doesn't have hydrogenated oil.
All right.
Very possibly.
All right.
Possibly.
Hey, thanks for the call, Matt, and thanks for the encouragement. I do feel a little bit better. Perhaps I overreacted just a little bit. But when I think about government intrusion into our lives, I just get a little hot. And
like hot buttered popcorn.
Yeah. Especially when it costs like $9 a tub.
I guess. So I was reading a little bit deeper while we were talking. One of the things that Cheetos has a lot of hydrogenated oils, or did, but they've dropped by about 85% over the past 10 years on their own.
All right,
without the government.
So much for that. We have an hour, ladies and gentlemen, of unadulterated open phones coming up, and so we might tackle other topics even more sensitive than this.
Unlikely.
So stay with us. Hey, it's Talkback, and it's brought to you by Bitterroot Motors, Office Solutions and Services, Automotive Cutting Edge, The Mustard Seed Restaurant, and by Transport Equipment. All right, welcome, everybody. Welcome back. We had a wonderful time last hour visiting with the folks from Big Dipper Ice Cream, and then we began. I just kind of went nuts. John pulled something on me I wasn't expecting, and threatened to pull one of the great loves of my life and just throw it in the garbage, and I wasn't having any of it.
Well, here's some of the arguments from the government as to why you should like this move to get rid of hydrogenated.
I can't wait, because the government always knows best. So go ahead.
Quote, "This is a massive win for public health."
Oh, good.
Quote, says Sam Cass, the former senior advisor for nutrition at the White House and executive director of Let's Move! ! Noting that FDA has estimated removing trans fat could prevent 20,000 heart attacks and some 7,000 deaths. Now, is your popcorn worth 20,000 heart attacks and 7,000 deaths, Peter?
I'm just wondering why they can't just let people choose what they want to eat for themselves. At what point did we become so stupid and so helpless that we cannot choose for ourselves, especially as adults, what we want to put in our bodies?
This is quoting again, there are few targeted actions that you could take in this space that have that kind of direct impact, said Cass. He said he expects the FDA will ultimately allow negligible use of trans fats because there's no science that shows that such levels are harmful.
All right, let's get back to the phones. And Tom, thank you, first of all, for holding so long. Thanks for your patience. What's on your mind, sir?
Yeah, actually, it's on the topic you're just going over. I've got a couple things. The first one you might find interesting locally was that Rosar's here, they make their donuts, right? Well, they tried to switch to a non-trans fat, and it didn't last very long. And the reason it didn't last is because customers complained that donuts didn't taste right.
Yeah.
They complained until they got them back, basically. And they're
it's a texture thing from what I understand, right? Like, it has that kind of buttery squishiness that you expect from a donut.
It does. I actually find it kind of an unattractive taste in the mouth, personally. But here's the thing interesting, like, people, if you eat a lot of junk food, you might crave junk food. If you eat a lot of vegetables, you might crave vegetables.
This is true.
Because it changes your microbiome, your gut flora,
This is true.
So that seems to influence our brains, tell us what to do, kind of controls us a little more than we like to give it credit for. But the other thing is, I mean, the heart attack thing is somewhat legit. Trans fats are interesting because they tend to stop cells from respirating, which is living, as opposed to, omega-3s, which are what our body prefers to make cells out of, makes them more robust so that they are better at receiving hormones and dealing with, triggering responses and stuff like that. So it does make a fair amount of sense health-wise, but do you eat pizza every day or once in a while? That's the other question.
It also depends on what kind of pizza you're eating, right? I mean, You can eat pizza without trans
I have a habit of
fats,
stopping
right?
in a good food store and grabbing their pizza. It's pretty quick, but they use walnut oil, and it's pretty good.
You don't like
so
walnuts,
that's
Peter?
different.
Peter's making
No,
he doesn't like walnuts.
I'm just trying to imagine eating something made with walnuts. I've never done that, so I'm just trying to go. I'm sorry, Tom. I'm an old guy, and I'm used to eating stuff a certain way. So perhaps I need to develop some new,
the way he eats it is
Well,
tightly wrapped
you're
in a
actually
plastic
very lucky
bag.
because when you were born, they didn't really have as much trans fats and stuff like that.
Right.
So, your cells probably quite literally have been made out of better stuff for most of your life. So you're not really paying the price like, a lot of younger people or people that, don't really eat anything but donuts and pizza.
So actually, from my understanding, when Peter was born, like in the 50s and 60s, or I'm sorry, the 1850s and 60s, I mean the real 1950s and 60s.
Thank you.
That's
Thank
when
you
the
so
U.S. government decided that saturated fats were bad for you, and the move for trans fats kind of began in this push to get rid of these other types of fats, the trans fats or the hydrogenated oil fats. Rose in popularity, and things like Crisco and stuff started appearing on the shelves.
There was a low-fat craze that came out that's probably the worst of all of them because the original not butters were pretty much entirely hydrogenated oil, which came out a little bit later, I believe. But, yeah, they decided to, I think maybe more than the products came out, it was more like, red meat causes heart attacks,
right.
And then the industry was like, well, I bet we can market that.
I remember as a kid watching all the commercials of how great this stuff was, and now I can't believe it's not good for you.
Yeah, right. Yeah, a lot of the products have switched away from the hydrogenated oils, but, there's a lot of people that have problems from it. They believe that it just was a downhill course, and I could go into a lot of depth on some of the reasoning behind that, whether it's, saturated fat or not, because for example, most people don't know that in red meat, while there's saturated fat, there's cholesterol, and the cholesterol is independent of the fat content. You can have lean or fatty steak, and the cholesterol can be the same. So, there's actually a few more things at play here. There's some very interesting things, the amount of intestinal fluids we have that can digest, say, the cholesterol from person to person as well.
So let me ask you, Marcus, with your background.
Tom.
I'm sorry, Tom. I don't have the names in front of me, and I'm horrible with them. So please forgive me. Do you think that this is a good idea for the federal government to kind of mandate that we restrict the use of trans fats?
That's debatable because in one instance, yes, because there's a lot of people that consume a lot of this food, and there's some problems where people don't really have access to a lot of other food, or their lives don't really allow them to cook. So in that instance, would it be helping them? Marginally, because the other thing is, if you're eating fried chicken from trans fat or not trans fat, it's still just fried chicken. You're lacking a whole slew of things that you need to consume as a human to actually be very robust and, fit. So it doesn't necessarily help a lot to make pizza slightly healthier, if you're not eating anything else.
Gotcha. Hey, Tom, we're up against a break. Listen, I appreciate your thoughts, and you make a lot of sense. I appreciate it. Mm-hmm. Thanks so much.
Peter's going to go buy a walnut oil pizza.
No,
now.
I was just going to say before the break, I'll be 62 next week. Okay? Now, my blood pressure is 110/60. My cholesterol is 159. Okay? My weight, I'm 5'9". I weigh about 168 pounds. All right? So if I want to go in to the movie theater maybe once or twice a year and have one of my favorite treats, which is buttered popcorn, that's what I'm going to do. And I work out, I run, I do all sorts of things. I'm a healthy guy. So every now and then I have something that's bad for me. And if you don't like it, that's too bad. So why don't you eat what you want to eat, and I'll eat what I want to eat, and we'll all be happy together.
Matt chimed in on Facebook, all caps, I am with you, Peter.
We'll be right back. All right, and I'll be happy to show you the paperwork, by the way, because I just had my blood work done at St. Pat's a couple months ago.
Yeah?
Anyway, so there you go, 721-1290. Everybody, we have more people on the phone. I don't want to make them wait another second. So, Bruce, good morning. Thanks for holding. Go ahead.
Good morning, guys. Peter, I'm going to make your day here.
I'm ready.
All right. You don't want to know what those theaters actually call butter.
I know. I've seen it. It comes in big jugs. It's orange, and it's probably really disgusting.
It's stuff that breakfast cooks fry eggs in with salt added. Now, I've been looking at a box of butter in my fridge, and I won't name names. It just begins with a T, ends with a mook, and no trans fat.
Okay.
So, my brother, we can walk into a movie theater, and they're going to have 25 gallons of bubbling real butter back there for our popcorn, because I've heard scientists are now saying butter and lard are good for us.
I've always known about lard. I carry my own supply with me.
Me too.
Yeah. Brother, we have light at the end of this horrid tunnel.
All right, thanks, Bruce. Appreciate the
bye.
call. All right, Mike, whoops, hold on, stand by.
By the way, our number is 721-1290 if you want to get in on this.
All right, Mike, you're on Talkback. Go ahead.
Well, first off, there's no such thing as good food or bad food. It depends how much you eat of either one, for starters.
Portion control is important.
Yeah. And
Now, I'm waiting for, Mike, I'm waiting for the portion control police to come to my house and say, you know what? That's a little bit too many pieces of chicken you're having there, Peter. You might want to just back off a little bit.
Yeah. Well, since somebody mentioned Rosars there, I used to buy bread out of Rosars. Oh, we took the trans fat out of it. Yeah, well, I absolutely refuse to buy the stuff because it really tastes like crap. Anyway, you can't phrase it any other way. But here's the thing that I know this from. First off, there's a Bluegrass Association, and a lot of these Bluegrass members are people who raised on farms with everything they weren't supposed to eat, and the Trapping Association, all these old guys around, and they're my age, or some of them, a lot of them are close to my age, which is getting really old, and they were all raised by what the standard said. None of them should have made it past 40. So, and they're alive and doing pretty darn well.
Everything is genetic, Mike.
No, it's how they were raised. I mean, they were. By the way, our favorite treat, and I can ask a whole bunch of these people what their favorite treat was cracklings. And if you don't know what cracklings are, you're going to have to figure it out.
Is that just fat?
Pork rinds?
Pork rinds, basically?
Right, and that's what after you rendered the fat out of the pork skins. By the way, it was also good fox bait. But anyway,
the stuff you learn on Talkback.
One thing: if vegetables are so good for you, you're going to die without your vegetables. And eating all this fat is bad for you. How old do the Eskimos live?
I do not know.
I do not.
None of them must go past 25 or 30 because they eat everything that's backwards. And seriously, and that number you quoted is a number picked out of the sky. I mean, they have no way of backing this up. It will stop so many car heart attacks. You have no idea. Right. I mean, seriously, and it's also when I go to the doctor, we want to check your cholesterol. I said, you can check it to your heart's content. I have no clue what it is, and I don't want to know what it is, because after 65, you can take cholesterol-lowering drugs. You'll lower cholesterol, but you won't live a day longer. So that's my thought on it. Just government, just stay the hell out of our business. I don't want you around. So help me. Peter, I'm with you.
All right.
If you want to eat what you eat, that's your business. It's none of mine.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate the call. And Mike had a very good point. A lot of it has to do with portion control. I mean, right. There are a lot of people out there that have a hard time stopping. Stopping when they're full. I read a marvelous book. Oh gosh, about 20 years ago. It was called, and I know this sounds really silly,
Proverbs.
No, that's part of it. But the book was called Eat When You're Hungry. Wow. And it's like, so the problem is that nobody in America ever learns what it actually means to have a hunger pain, okay? In other words, you don't eat until the hunger pain hits, and then you eat what your body calls for, and you stop when you're full. Now, that doesn't mean you have to eat 3 square meals a day. Maybe it's just 1 meal a day. Maybe it's 2 meals a day. Maybe it's 3 meals every 2 days. Whatever it is that helps you feel healthy and complete and full, that should be what you're eating, according to that book. Now, you may agree or not agree, but it certainly makes sense to me. So,
well, the other thing, too, is just like prohibiting anybody from manufacturing it.
Yeah.
I mean, I can sell pot. I can sell booze, with certain restrictions and hoops and hurdles. But for some reason, I can't sell you a hydrogenated cupcake or cinnamon roll.
I'm waiting for black market movie popcorn. Black market movie popcorn. It'll taste even better.
Do you want me to read real quick how they make this stuff?
Go ahead.
Okay. Hydrogenation. This is the process of complete or partial hydrogenation.
Go ahead.
A chemical process.
Ruin my life for me. Go ahead.
Actually, it's not that gross, I don't think. In which hydrogen is added to liquid oils to turn them into a solid form.
Aha.
This makes it easier to ship, makes it easier to reheat.
Right.
Gives a preservative to it, right, basically. Right. Partially hydrogenated fat molecules have trans fats. That's where the government comes in. And they may be the worst type of fat you can consume.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the dice, right?
Look at me. Look at me. I am a walking trans fat.
Nah, you're not.
But anyway, okay, we're up against a break. Tyler, Dennis, and Ray all want to weigh in.
I know you're mostly fried chicken.
Weigh in. Okay, I'm sorry. I realize that there are a lot of people out there that are really, genuinely feel that this trans fat is the worst thing. We got to get rid of it. We got to get people healthy. God bless you all. Okay, God bless you all for caring and working hard to make us all healthy. But sometimes there's just a part of me that says, "Butt out." So we'll be right back. But that part of me could be wrong. All right, 721-1290 is our number, 1-800-568-5309. Ow! John King's over there. I'm Peter Christian, and I guess I have been indulging in a little of self-indulgent whining here the last half an hour or so. And
I'm going to give you a trans man T-shirt.
That'll be me. So if you were offended by that, I apologize. But sometimes it just comes. It just, if you will, it leaks out. Tyler,
squirts out like hot yellow butter.
Tyler, you're on talkback. Go ahead.
All right. Well, I started calling in and trying to change the subject and save your career a little bit.
Go for it, buddy.
So last week, there was a report that came out. It was a really good story on Fox on it about the amount of government regulations that were imposed in 2014.
Okay.
And I'm sure Catherine will call in and give the exact numbers or has them at her fingertips, but from what I remember, it's 3,800 regulations made in 2014 versus 300 laws that are actually passed by Congress and signed by the president. And every one of those regulations, those 3,800 regulations, come with monetary fines or jail time and or both.
Wow.
And you want to talk about regulation nation, you want to talk about, bureaucracies just randomly making things illegal or trying to change our life in the effort of saving one child.
We know what's interesting that you bring that up, Travis, because Tyler, I'm sorry, Tyler, is the fact that Obamacare is like 2,500 pages, but the regulation. Yeah, but the
regulation. I'm not talking pages.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, but the regulations to
to
put Obamacare in place were over 27,000 pages.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah, the pile of paper for regulations just for Obamacare stands over 7 feet tall.
Right. Exactly.
And now I'm not talking. That's not what I'm. The regulations that are above and beyond just Obamacare, above and beyond the other things like this trans fat thing. That's now illegal. If you make it, you use it, you sell it, you own it, you're a felon now. And you guys had a story last couple of weeks ago about the possibility of just an average day going through your life, how many felonies that you possibly could commit without even knowing it, just because of the regulations of this nation. And it's very sad. It's very frustrating. So,
unless we all desperately need that government guidance, because we can't possibly live our own lives without it.
Yeah.
Well, and sometimes it's just crushing. My sister lives over in Chicago, and she was telling me a pretty sad story about one of her friends. She works with immigrants to the United States and tries to get them jobs and get them involved in community and stuff like that. And one of the people she was working with had a speeding ticket from a traffic camera. Didn't know that he even had the speeding ticket. Okay, drives around for like 3 months, and he kept going the same route, and he kept doing the same mistake over and over again, and didn't realize he was doing the mistake because no one pulled him over and told him that he was breaking the law. So he had like 3 or 4 speeding tickets. Well, the way their system works is it's cumulative.
Right.
And then after like 4 or 3,
It's jail time.
The fees jump up.
Right.
So first time he finds out he broke the law, he's got this giant fee he can't pay. They impound his car. He can't get to work. I mean, it just destroyed his life.
Yeah.
So
One
don't
more
do
thing
traffic
that they-
cameras, Missoula.
Yeah. One more thing that they said in that article, and it was on Special Report, but the amount of money collected in fees for regulations that were violated in 2014 would equate to $15,000 per household for the entire country if they gave all that money back.
And we
That's
still
how much-
and we still
that's
have
how
a
much-
deficit.
That's how much money they collect in fees for
right.
violating bogus rules that aren't
Well,
laws. They're just rules.
Not all of these are bogus rules.
Well, they're not legal, are they? They're not a law. They're a rule that does not exist. That does not exist on.
Yeah, it doesn't have the force of law. That's just it.
I see what you're
Exactly.
saying. I see what you're saying.
All right. Hey, thanks for the call.
Thanks.
Appreciate it. All right, Dennis, thanks for holding. You're on Talkback. Well, you have 2 lines open, by the way, 721-1290. Go ahead.
Yeah, Tyler's point was well making, and I'm talking about your trans fatty crap.
Yes,
the
sir.
FDA ruling all of this, making rules that what you can and can't eat, but yet the FDA makes all the rules that allows all these prescription medications that are killing people. I mean, you watch the TV ads, all the lawsuits.
Well, I got to tell you, when I watch television and I see almost every other ad, 5 seconds of it is, hey, this is good for you. But the other 55 seconds is, it'll do this, your head will pop off, your left foot will turn around the wrong way, your knees will buckle, you'll throw up. I mean, I really want that drug. Okay?
Well, it
Yeah,
does
well,
one
I've
important
been
thing
on-
usually. One important thing that guys really want.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
But I was on Lipitor. I had a heart attack in the 97, and I've been on Lipitor, and it wasn't doing the right thing, so they doubled it.
Wow.
So then I start getting, like, Parkinson's.
Yeah, symptoms
I
of that,
do a
right.
lot of fine model work, and I can't stop the shake. So 2 years ago, I just against doctor's advice, I just quit the Lipitor, and my shakes have gone, and now I can shoot my 60-pound recurve. So
Wow.
they tout, and now I see the TV ads for women with Lipitor are getting diabetes. Well, all of a sudden, I'm pre-diabetic now.
Wow.
I was on Lipitor for 12 years.
Well, I'm very sorry to hear that.
So I just outright quit it, and so the prescription thing and the FDA, Congress has lost their way. I mean, they could control all these alphabet soup agencies, but they don't.
All right. Hey, listen, we're up against a break, but
Okay.
thanks for your call. And for some reason, we're having some trouble. But you want to try to give away some coffee and see if the phones will work, right?
Yeah, that'd be great.
right.
We have free coffee at the Rocket Coffee stand, which is in the Garden City Garden Supply to give away. Free coffee, free toast, your choice of spread.
Oh, baby.
Delicious. What do you want on a Wednesday morning?
Yeah.
It's hump day, so give us a call. You don't have to have any trans fats with that,
it's
I don't
Tuesday.
believe. Is it? Oh, man, I wish it was hump day. I'm already thinking a day ahead. All you have to do is call 721-1290.
All right, first caller wins. We'll be right back. Thanks for calling. Having some interesting phone issues this morning. We've been getting lots of calls, but for some reason when we pick it up, it just goes. So anyway,
I thought someone was trying to prank me.
no. So do we have a winner?
We do. Actually, our caller, Catherine, is the winner today.
But Harry was up first, so we're going to get him first. Harry, good morning. You're on Talkback. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, good morning. You know, the trans fat thing, I'd be more agree with you more, Peter, if you were also pushing to say, well, why should they let Coca-Cola have Coke in it, or Mentos have meth in it, or, you know. So, I mean, if you're going to do one, let them do everything, you know. Put whatever they want in it, and people can buyer beware type thing.
Yeah, you're saying basically there's a level of hypocrisy if you're allowing people to consume something like trans fats that might be harmful in large quantities, and not allow something like meth, which is harmful in small quantities.
Well, you know, it's portions. I mean, the smoking pot. You know, some people do it every weekend, and it doesn't kill them. Or, they used to have Coca-Cola. Or
Actually,
Coca
apparently it stunts your growth. A new study found that it stunts your growth and causes early onset puberty. So, I don't know.
Well, if you shouldn't be smoking before your puberty anyhow. But I mean, trans fatties clog up your heart. So I mean, we could put lead in paint, which we had for many years, and that's no biggie until kids eat it, and then they have mental problems.
I'm not eating the paint on my popcorn at the movie theater, Harry.
Well, it's just you're saying that put regulations.
It's a silly argument, I know, but that's just me.
I think Harry does have this is the point, right? The point is public health and public safety.
Right.
And if you don't put restrictions on companies, they'll continue to make a product that could hurt people. The problem and the reason why this is an issue for people like Peter is trans fats, when used in small amounts, there is no scientific evidence that it is harmful.
With 20,000 heart attacks.
Look, that's from the FDA themselves. That's from the FDA themselves. Now, you're right, in large amounts, but not in small amounts. So it's to make Peter's...
Like you said, the reason they use it is because it's preservative. I mean, the reason why preservative, bacteria won't eat it, so I mean... They're probably smarter than we are. But,
well, you might have a point there.
So I mean, so a little bit, but then you start spreading it out through everything else. It used to be ubiquitous. It was in everything because it makes shelf life longer. So I mean, you say a little bit. I mean, you start saying, well, it's they put it in because it makes it last longer. And now that it come out that people think it's unhealthy, they're pulling back. But that's only because they said it so. It said it was unhealthy. But just say, well, for shelf life, it makes it last longer.
It certainly does, but I mean, a long shelf life can mean a lot if you're in a rural or an environment away from infrastructure. I mean, only 1 in 7 people on the planet right now have electricity. Getting food to these people isn't the easiest thing. There are some benefits to preservatives.
Yeah, but I mean, they're just in Twinkies and stuff. I mean, you guys send them Twinkies. It'd be better to...
Look, I would rather have jerky myself, but...
Harry, you make a good point. We appreciate it.
Oh, I'm just one more thing about the regulations. I agree. There's a lot of over regulations and probably a lot of redundant, a lot of useless. But trouble is, when you got so many people, a few 100 million people in this country, that's a lot of people you got, and if you don't put some regulations, people do stupid things.
People do stupid things anyway, but
they do them with the regulations.
That's true.
And sometimes people that want to do stupid things make stupid regulations. It's a real conundrum.
Harry, thanks for the call. We appreciate it. Catherine, you're on Talkback. Go ahead.
Okay, so many things. People do stupid things, but you know what? Do whatever it is you want and live with the consequences, right?
I've heard of that concept. It's called personal responsibility.
Yeah, kind of an odd one these days, I suppose. A couple of things. I sent you a little article. UN, this has been going around for a while, but they're pushing the veganism as a global initiative. I thought you might appreciate that.
Veganism, yes.
Yes, this is not eating any animals or animal off products like milk or
no products.
eggs.
Right, exactly.
Right. They're trying to get policies instituted on a country-by-country basis, and this is, of course, in thrall to...
But then, of course, you begin the process of vegetable-icide. You're murdering fruits and vegetables. Only if you want to be totally true, you should be a fruitarian, which is where you only eat the fruit that has fallen, voluntarily off the tree onto the ground.
Fruit.
Yes.
This is fruit that wants to be eaten so it can reproduce.
I guess so.
Actually, I know you don't watch Simpsons, but one of the best episodes ever, the daughter on The Simpsons, Lisa, falls in love with this really hip progressive kid in her class, and he's like a level 29th vegan, and he won't eat anything that casts a shadow.
My goodness. Okay.
He's like an Eritarian.
The Eritarian, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Question then. The free trade agreement that's being negotiated these days.
Right.
I have a question about, where this whole food issue comes into play here, because food safety, China just bought Smithfield, which is the biggest pork producer in the United States. And it is now allowed for companies that grow chickens to send them over to China for processing. So, I don't know. I prefer to buy locally as much as possible, but I'm kind of curious where the trade agreement stands on all that kind of stuff. And
so is
third,
everybody.
yeah.
So is everybody except for the president and like 3 senators that read it.
Yeah, that's right. So, and the third one has nothing to do with food, but does have to do with climate change. It's just a little example of. It's illustrative of hypocrisy on the part of our government officials.
Well, why don't you grow into that right after the break? Because we're up against a hard break here.
Okay, stay with us. Catherine, hang with us. We have 2 lines open, we hope.
721-1290.
If our phones are still working, call us and let us know. We'll be right back. Hey, we're back on Talkback, 721-1290. John King's right there. I'm Peter Christian, and Catherine joining us on the phone. You had one more point you wanted to make, Catherine. Go ahead.
Yeah, just a little illustration of the hypocrisy of the government officials. John Kerry, our Secretary of State,
who served in Vietnam, by the way.
Oh, yeah, right. Well, he also, is one of the pushers of the whole climate change thing, and the need for renewable energy.
You should have heard Max Baucus at the commencement speech.
Oh, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
But do you realize that he has millions of dollars invested in 50 different oil and gas-related companies? So he makes a nice chunk of change from oil companies.
Imagine that.
Who, Baucus?
No,
John Kerry.
John Kerry.
I haven't looked into Baucus yet.
I'm shocked.
Maybe I will.
But of course, that's the big ketchup company, and who knows where they are in their trans fats. Yeah. Hey, Catherine, thanks for the call. We got to get folks. We have a bunch of Facebook comments.
Yeah, I'm going to go through these real quick. Jim says a quick scan of the Pizza Hut nutrition sheet reveals that almost nothing on their menu contains trans fats. If you can do without pepperoni, you don't even have to worry about trans fats on your pizza. If you must have it, there's only 1 gram or less. Matt says so much of this is driven by the Society for Science in the Public Interest, which consists of 3 individuals, 2 of whom are doctors of veterinary medicine. They have a letterhead, a fax machine, and they just issue proclamations based on the flimsiest of studies. Chris says, well, let's go to callers, and I'll read Chris. Chris has written me a 4-page dissertation here.
A missive. All right, so let's get to Misty. Good morning. You're on Talkback. Go ahead.
Good morning.
Hi.
I wanted to tell you guys, I donate plasma at BioLife, which is an FDA-regulated place.
Right.
And I kind of performed my own little experiment. When you go in there to donate, your iron and your proteins have to be at a high certain level. But your trans fat content in your blood also has to be at a certain low level. If it's too high, the monitors won't take your proteins. So
Peter would get in there and be like the Richter scale going up. Beep, 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 beep.
Well, it makes your plasma foggy. So I did this experiment. There's a monitor in the machine, and the tube is clear, so you can see whether or not it's going to go through, if it's foggy or if it's clear.
Okay,
so,
all together now. Foggy plasma. Sorry, I couldn't resist. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Miss Tay, I interrupted you.
Before you donate, you have to have a big meal and drink lots of water. So the first time after I found this out, I had like a chicken salad with a little bit of oil and like veggie greens and vegetables and all that good stuff.
Right.
And my plasma was not foggy at all. I watched it go through the tube and everything went fine. And the second time I went in, I had a cheeseburger and fries and a milkshake.
And you had foggy plasma.
My plasma was so foggy that I couldn't donate.
Oh.
It went through that sensor and the whole machine shut down.
Wow, that's amazing.
So you can see it firsthand when you eat a meal like that, what the difference is real time.
And you've given me
a
great idea for a new band. Now, on stage, it's Foggy Plasma. No, seriously, thanks for sharing that. We appreciate it.
That's good. And happy Wednesday to you. Misty's hilarious.
Thanks, Misty. All right.
It's happy Wednesday's Eve to everybody.
Yeah. Marilyn, go ahead. You're on Talkback. Hi.
Good morning. Always so much to say, but I'm reading a book, Kevin Trudeau, Natural Cures, They Don't Want You to Know About. Anyways, this guy is serving 10 years in prison.
I know.
And what's he serving prison time for?
A fraud.
So disgusting. Well, fraud. Yeah, but I don't think it is fraud.
Fraud.
I mean, the government, see, what he was doing really was exposing the Food and Drug Administration and the Federal Trade Commission and their connections with lobbyists and politicians. And, they look at all the things they do to rule our lives, run our lives, like you've been discussing all morning. And he's serving 10 years for what? Making claims that this cures that and this cures that. And he couldn't really say that, and he didn't really say that.
Well, I'm not sure if he's. You probably have read more about this than I have, but I actually have a couple of his books that I was foolish. I mean, that I set away for, and from what I understand, now again, I could be, and many times often am completely wrong, but I had heard that he had been cheating people, and charging for things that he never delivered on, and that was the source of the fraud.
Okay, well, I haven't heard that or read that.
Yeah.
So,
but again, I could be wrong. So.
Well, and it could be that they're making claims because there have been fraudulent claims made against people.
Well, and if you know this, Marilyn, I know that Dr. Oz has come under huge fire because he dared to speak against GMOs. And
right.
So there's so many doctors, Dr. Oz is a quack. Well, all of a sudden he's a quack when he's challenging GMOs.
Yeah, he
right.
was a quack
Well, and
before.
meanwhile, the Clinton crime family gets away with literal, I believe, murder and multi-other other crimes. And there are certain politicians, depending on who you're connected with, get off scot-free, don't they? We know that's true.
Marilyn, thanks for the call, dear.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Always a pleasure. And Tom, we're going to get you on in 1 minute. Go ahead.
I just said, did you hear this? California, a 10-term congresswoman, she made a joke about Native Americans, basically saying she went in to speak with an Indian American, and then she made like the old movie war cry, like in front of an audience, and then said she was relieved to find that it was the other type of Indian. I mean, I'm paraphrasing here. It wasn't as bad as the way I phrased it. It was less obvious there. And there is like no one talking about this. I was really shocked. And I mean, honestly, if this was a Republican that had said anything like this, you know what? The news networks would be on fire.
It'd be effigy.
And she is running for Senate in California.
Effigies all over the place. We're going to take a 1 minute timeout. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Yeah! All right, 721-1290 is the number. Go ahead, John.
I was reading this from
there.
CNN to give you a little bit more clarification. U.S. Representative Loretta Sanchez has apologized for an ethnically touchy gaffe that was caught on cell phone video.
Oh, boy.
The Democrat, who is running to replace California's retiring Senator Barbara Boxer, would otherwise seem like a paragon of diversity. But when she let out a stereotypical Native American, quote, war cry, end quote, over the weekend, it marred that image and sent her running, literally running away from a reporter who was trying to chase her down for a comment about the gaffe. And many found racially offensive. But late Sunday, she spoke out about the slip-up. She apologized to the Democratic Party there in California, in Anaheim, saying, quote, they know what many of you do not know, that like many Mexican Americans, I am proudly Native American on my mother's side, Sanchez said. So, end quote.
Draw your own conclusions, folks. Tom, good morning. You're on Talkback. Hi.
Hi. So, interesting thing about biases with doctors and medical information and stuff like that. I mean, Dr. Oz isn't that interesting. He's always shooting for just, viewers, basically.
Sure.
So it's a GMO thing. And I would say GMOs are, most people don't really understand where the dangers lie. They kind of, it's the boogeyman, they're not really quantifying any particular proteins that are being switched around.
Hey, hold on. Is this the Tom that called earlier in the hour?
Yeah.
I just want to make sure. Okay, I recognize your voice, so go ahead. Sorry.
But I want to give you the most interesting biasing that I've seen possible to date as far as doctors and opinions and where maybe money lies and stuff like that. And the biggest one I know of that is most interesting is a number of years ago, earlier in this decade, I guess, I believe a little documentary came out about Hitler's doctor. And everyone knows that Hitler is the epitome of evil, so obviously his doctor is just as evil, right? If not responsible or something like that.
Right.
And the claims were he was on a load of drugs and all sorts of things. And given the stress that he was under, conducting a world war, probably. However, the most interesting thing about all of it was that his doctor, in order to treat intense stomach pains that Hitler had, which were related to being gassed in World War I, supposedly, is that he cultured bacteria from other healthy soldiers with their fecal matter in order to treat Hitler, to reintroduce bacteria to him. And when this documentary came out, basically all the doctors that they had on it, and everybody was like, this is insane, this is ludicrous. It's obviously just as crazy as the Fuhrer, you know. But, as you may know, about last year, we've been getting reports all over the internet about poo pill treatment, where people with debilitating diarrhea that basically couldn't have jobs and stuff like that have been treated by cultures made from other people's fecal matter that were healthy donors, and they've recovered. They can have life again. But it just goes to show how intense biasing and interest can go in the medical field, to the point where something is as ludicrous as possible, and then it's cutting edge.
Ja,
Okay.
wohl, Herr
A mere
Führer.
2-3
Der
years later.
fecal matter.
Okay, who's for lunch? Okay, thanks. Hey, Tom,
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
Tom, that's okay. Thanks for
That's
the
all
thanks
right.
for the call. All right, there you go. Okay, there you go. Now I'm ready for my buttered popcorn.
Now, there's an ice cream flavor I don't think they've made.
Now there is a dedicated entrepreneur right there. You want to go ahead and challenge that one, right? Anyway, we're 2 minutes.
Poo pill pistachio.
The poo-poo platter is what they called it in the movie. Okay, we have 2 minutes. Go ahead.
All right, let me read some of these Facebook comments.
Okay, great.
Chris says, Montana Democrats and rhinos voted against the raw milk bill because they were trying to save us from ourselves, despite the scientific and medical evidence to the contrary. But cigarettes and alcohol are just fine. Over 300 people a year die from vegetables in the U.S. and over 400 from meat or poultry, per the CDC. No deaths from fluid raw milk since the CDC started keeping records, but only 2 from cheese, and over 80 from pasteurized milk. CDC data on pasteurized illnesses had to be, I don't know, I can't read this word. Sorry, Chris. Government is constantly wrong with their recommendations. Aspirin, food pyramid, coconut oil, eggs, soy, fluoride, allergens for babies sleeping on their stomachs, etc., etc., etc. And then he says 4 sentences, a missive. Sorry, it's much longer than others, Chris. Matt says, if vegetarians eat only vegetables, I am somewhat concerned about humanitarians. Chris says, I agree. Peter should be able to eat all of the movie popcorn he chooses. Does Peter allow the same personal responsibility, freedom for everyone if we replace trans fats with marijuana, abortion, or gay marriage? What do you think?
Interesting point.
Yeah, you give people the right to not live, right? That's giving freedom and choice, right? No.
We're talking apples and oranges here, but
yeah, killing a baby is a little bit different.
yeah,
it's not freedom.
And eating movie popcorn.
That's
I'm
murder.
sorry. That's good. That tends to the ridiculous.
I do agree with the marijuana point, though.
Okay.
I mean,
don't smoke it in front of me. if you're gonna smoke dope in front of me, just swallow it.
And as far as gay marriage, I agree as long as the government isn't in the central role.
Yeah,
but
those should be up to the states. Anyway, I
Should
mean,
be up to the
remember states' rights, all that good stuff that the Federalists were working on, and all that.
No, that's what federalism means.
I'm sorry, Dad. You know what I mean. Okay, so what's coming up on tomorrow's fabulous program?
We'll speak with Dr. Merrill Matthews for a little bit about infrastructure and why the government is choosing not to let the private sector pay for infrastructure and yet consistently complains about not having enough money for infrastructure. Then after that, we'll have some open phones from 9 to 10.
So we'll do, and we haven't even talked about your topic yet.
No, I have a secret topic my wife doesn't want me to talk about. I probably need to run this by her before I bring it up.
Good luck. Good luck with that. Hey, listen, thanks for all your calls. You guys are awesome as always. Thanks to the Big Dipper folks, and happy 20th anniversary to them.